I think so.
So let me just get back and have a look at Wisconsin. Okay, so you're pretty much just a little bit east of middle, and then you're close up near Canada. You're not quite on the Canadian border, eh?
No, not quite. Yeah, if you zoom in a little bit, Michigan is to the northeast and Minnesota is to the northwest.
Yeah. Have you always lived there?
Yep. No, I'm originally from New York.
Oh wow.
Everybody knows where that is, right?
Oh yeah. I haven't been there. I have been to where have I been? Seattle and San Francisco. It's the only two places I've been in the US. Are you seeing whether we're coming streaming yet, mate?
We are streaming. Yeah, we've been. Well, I think so. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we're streaming, mate. Awesome. We are up and running, guys. Welcome back, Jeff. How you going, mate?
I am doing great. How are you doing? There we
Good,
go. Now I've
good.
got the live one up. I got all of our
Even.
previous mix-ups. I had to sort through them all to find the live one finally. There we go.
Nice one. And I can see you there. Jeff, the man, relaxing with his feet up.
Yeah, got my whiskey. Let me switch over here. There we go. That's better, right?
Now we can't see you.
Little clip.
You need to shift to the right again.
Oh, geez, let me.
That camera angle wasn't great, remember? There we go. A little bit more, a little bit more. You're in
How about that
frame,
one?
mate. Awesome.
Outstanding. Nice.
Outstanding. Nice. So Jeff, we were talking when we started, we were talking about light switches, weren't we?
We were, yeah. We were talking about Shelly versus Casa, and you were
Casa
telling me
TP
about
Link, eh?
yeah, you were telling me about how Shelly allows you to monitor for overvoltage situations or something, right?
It's over temperature, I think, because what it does,
Okay.
it actually pulls into Home Assistant. It pulls the actual temperature of the Shelly, which is pretty cool. So you can actually monitor live your Shelly temps in Home Assistant. So that's pretty cool. It makes me feel comfortable that the stuff that I've stuck in my wall is, first of all, it is certified for use in New Zealand because the Shelly's got a NZAS something, so Australia New Zealand certification. And secondly, it's got a setting on there that allows me to, well, it actually automatically will cut out if it goes over temperature or I'm assuming over current. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. I enjoy having that safe feeling that my walls inside my house are protected from fire.
Yeah, so I just pulled up my TP link here, and it does not report temperature at all. Just on or off. That's all you
Yeah.
get.
So Jeff, earlier in the stream when we were trying to get started, you were telling me you've been 3 years now on Home Assistant, eh?
Yeah. 3 years on Home Assistant, some give or take. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't write the date down on the calendar, but yeah, I had a coworker at my last job that sent me a message because I work in IT. I've been a consultant now for, oh boy, I don't know, too many years. But so a coworker of mine that was also a consultant sent me a message the one day and said, "Hey, I found this cool thing. It's called Home Assistant, and my sunroom gets cold in the wintertime,
Yeah.
and so I got this little temperature sensor that tells me the temperature in there, and then I got a Shelly relay that controls my electric fireplace, and so when it gets too cold, this thing automatically turns on my electric fireplace for me." And I was like, "Oh, that
Nice.
sounds pretty neat." So I got it, and happened to be remodeling our house at the time, so I got a bunch of light switches, and yeah, that's where it started, and now I am way down into the rabbit hole and making videos showing everybody else all the crazy stuff I've done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I also came across it about 3 years ago. So for me, I studied electronics a long time ago. When I finished school, I started studying electronics. But to tell the truth, I found it pretty boring at that stage because You were limited to some pretty basic things like, the old transistors and resistors and stuff like that. And then they had basic, there was op amps, and then you had basic NAND and NOR and gates like that. But there was no such things as
Sure.
ESP32s and Raspberry Pi computers and fun stuff like that. So, yeah, I actually got out of it altogether, and I got into sales instead.
Yeah.
And so I sold all sorts of different things. Sales, mate. So currently,
Sales.
I work for a German company. We do performance membranes for high performance building. But yeah, just to get back to the topic there, I was starting off. Oh, I bought a new house and moved in there. And first of all, I got some of those LED downlights, the coloured ones that you can control via just basic apps, the Tuya app, I think it was, Smart Life app. So I installed those, started playing around with them, thought they were pretty cool. And then I got a Amazon. We won't say the word, the little lady in the speaker. So I got one of those and fired her up. And then I connected her up to the Tuya smart bulbs. And I thought that was pretty cool. You could say, hey, turn on the light blue and all that stuff. And that was pretty cool. And then I started looking at other devices. I don't know which one first, but I very quickly realized I did not want to be sitting with, first of all, using the Amazon app as my smart home controller. And second of all, I didn't want to have 10 different apps controlling different stuff. So I was searching, and I came across some really cool YouTubers talking about this thing called Home Assistant. And I downloaded it, stuck in a Raspberry Pi, and was pretty amazed when it turned it on, and I was able to connect my browser to it and start adding devices. So that was just amazing.
You got started with Home Assistant by downloading it and installing it on a Raspberry Pi yourself then?
Yeah, I did. Why? How did you start with it?
I took the easy way out, and I bought a Home Assistant Blue.
Oh,
it
the
showed
blue.
up. All I had to do was plug it in and give it a name, and everything just worked. Yeah. Yeah. I still have that in the other room here. I'm thinking at some magical subscriber count, once my channel gets big enough, I'll wipe it back to default and give it away as a prize or something. But I haven't decided yet.
Oh, cool. No, I started with the yellow.
Are you still running on a Raspberry Pi?
No, I'm running on the yellow now. So when I was running on Raspberry Pi, quite soon after that, they talked about this. Well, it's Amber at that stage. And I thought, oh, let me give this Amber thing a try. And it's the first ever Kickstarter that I've signed up to. So it was pretty crazy. I signed up for it. I think it took like 15 months to arrive.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
This was the start of COVID, and they had all these dramas with getting hold of devices to run it on and everything. So, I was playing around with the Raspberry Pi for quite a while. I had an SD card, well, SSD. I swapped over SSD for more reliability and storage. But
sure,
Raspberry Pi 4 was working. I tried on the Pi 3 first of all, which it ran on. Then I upgraded to Pi 4 with 4 gig. That was pretty awesome. And then, the Home Assistant Yellow arrived, and I've been running on that ever since. It has bricked on me a few times. Actually, yesterday, it bricked on me totally. I did the upgrade. Yep, I did the upgrade to the latest version and just died. So I had to reset it back to...
Yeah, man, that's been a real fear of mine. I got to tell you, because I have run into some problems over the years. There was, I think it was 2023.5, just destroyed everything Zigbee that I had. Oh my God, it was a mess. And that took a few more releases from the devs, a couple of the minor releases, and a whole bunch of effort on my part, unfortunately, to get sorted out. And I was not happy about that. So I've been thinking about switching to running as a virtual machine.
Yeah.
Because then I can just take a snapshot before I do an upgrade, right? And so if I do an upgrade and it bricks, then I can just roll back the snapshot and put the system back to the way that it was before. But just finding the time to convert it to a virtual machine, right? Like Proxmox or something like that. it's a whole bunch of time that I just don't have right now.
Okay, yeah, it looks like quite a mission, I must admit. So I've sort of stuck with the yellow or the Raspberry Pi, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. As I say, I'm not an IT network guru, so for me, running on Raspberry is pretty cool because everything is there. You got all your add-ons running and everything. So I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, so when we spoke about
Well,
this live
I've got
stream, yeah.
yeah. I right now I have mine running on an Intel Nook.
Oh, you
Um,
do.
yeah, and so that actually runs bare metal.
Hmm.
Let me
So that's
let's
not
see.
Docker container or
So
anything.
no, no. So this is running bare metal. So
Hmm.
if I go to let's see, system hardware. Yeah, so it's just the generic x86 64 image,
Hmm.
and so you can see then that it barely uses any processor. So it's using 5% of the processor right now,
Hmm.
and 2.1 gig of 8 gig of memory is all that it's consuming on there.
Hmm.
And the installation was quite simple. I made a video about how to do it, but you just use a little SSD to USB
Hmm.
enclosure, and you can flash HAOS onto it right from
Hmm.
your Windows machine using Etcher, and then put it
Yeah.
back in the Nook, and away you go. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, the ability to take snapshots and run as a VM. If I decide to go that route, I'll be
Hmm.
sure to make a video about it so that I can show everybody how much pain it was to make it happen. Right?
So you're able to run add-ons and everything totally as normal as.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here, let me. Yep. So yeah, it's fully supervised
Oh.
HAOS.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you can add add-ons, right? So right now these are the ones I've got running, right? I've got
Hmm.
DNS Mask, and then Duck DNS,
Hmm.
Home Assistant Google Drive Backup, which
Yeah.
everybody should have. You should be
Oh
backing
yeah.
stuff up. Mosquito Broker for
Yeah.
MQTT.
That's cool.
Music Assistant. I
Yeah.
really really like Music Assistant. That's great.
Yeah. I
Network
want to see
UPS
more of
tool.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, the nut will be an upcoming video. Actually, I've got quite a bit of that filmed already. I've just got to find my way to find time to edit that. But
Hmm.
Samba Share and then Studio Code Server, I think pretty much everybody
That's good.
has. Uh, Terminal, Uptime Kuma, and Z-Wave JS. Yeah, but yeah, you can. It's fully supervised, so this functions and
Hmm.
runs the same as it does on an HA Blue or a yellow. Um,
Oh.
it runs the Home Assistant operating system. But yeah, Music Assistant. This thing is. I saw a video that you did the other day, or
Hmm.
maybe a week or so ago, where you
Yeah.
were talking about your top add-ons. Yeah, this is a fantastic add-on. I really, really, really like this. So there's I'm hoping to do a bigger video about it at some point. But yeah, you can choose all kinds of different players in here.
Hmm.
So right now, the only player that I really use is the Chromecast player, and then providers. I have a Plex server and I subscribe to YouTube Music, but you can add all kinds of different things: Deezer, Jellyfin,
Ah.
SoundCloud, Spotify, Tidal. So it's pretty versatile. And then if you want to search for something,
Hmm.
you can just type in whatever it is that you're looking for. So let's
Hmm.
run DMC. How about, right? We're looking for some old school rap. There we go.
Yeah.
So yep. So the YouTube logo there. So this is coming
Yeah.
from YouTube Music.
Hmm.
But then if we search for something that, oh geez, I didn't even spell it right. Geez. If we search for something that would be in my library, so this should return.
So you've got a local library plus obviously the streaming services, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I have Plex. I've got a
Yeah.
Plex server set up. Yeah, so quite a bit of stuff that I collected in my youth and back when I had an iPod and all that kind of stuff. But Yeah, so works quite well. Yeah, I really like it. It works great with the whole home audio stuff.
So what speakers are you using with that, Jeff?
Oh boy. So the whole home audio is so I set this up here. Um I've got out on my deck there all the speakers are Klipsch.
Mm,
But the deck is AW 650s. They're an outdoor weather rated speaker.
mm.
Um and then I can choose to play either when I say Plex, that's actually the Chromecast, right? So
Oh yeah.
music system will play there. I just need to rename that, but and then you can choose tuner and enter
Mm,
whatever source you want there. But and then inside the house, I have a pair of bookshelf speakers in the den, and
mm.
then all the rest of the rooms have in ceiling clip speakers, which actually have a I've got one right here. Hang on.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so
That's
these
all
are
right.
the I know, right? Yeah, so these are the speakers that I'm using in my ceiling.
Yeah.
Um, Open one up and show you guys. These are actually really easy to install. Um, you can
Sorry
just
to
use
interrupt you,
a
Jeff.
hole saw. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick question. How are you actually
Sure.
connecting? So what is actually your streamer that's connecting to Home Assistant there to drive those speakers?
Yeah, so I'm using Yamaha receivers. So I'm
Mm.
using the Yamaha Music Cast integration.
Yeah.
So I have three receivers, and each one of them. What? Let me. I'm not sure on that right screen. Jeez. So the Yamaha Music Cast integration, and each one of these three receivers here
Mm.
is a dual zone receiver. So there's a
Yeah.
main zone and a zone two, and so I have six different zones available then, which is what you see here.
Mm.
And then when we remodeled the house, I actually pulled speaker wire through the walls and ceilings and everything else. So these speakers are actually cabled all the way back down to the basement. There's speaker wire that runs all the way down to the receivers down here.
Mm.
So it's maybe not a project for the faint of heart unless you're in the middle of a remodel, right? But if you are, if you do happen to be in the middle of a
Yeah.
remodel, and you have the ability to pull a wire,
Mm.
these are a fantastic solution. So they install quite easily. Like I said,
Mm.
just a hole saw to make the hole
Mm.
in the ceiling, and then the way that you attach them is similar to a remodel box,
Mm.
right? As you tighten the screws in the face of it, so you've got four screws in the face of the speaker. So when you mount
Mm.
this in the ceiling, you would just tighten those screws, and as you do that, these little plastic ears here pop out, and
Mm.
then they clamp down and sandwich the drywall just like a remodel box.
So you don't
If you
need
were
a
to
box
install
behind that or anything, Jeff?
no, not at all. You just cut a hole in the ceiling,
Oh.
and so you need a good size hole, right? I use an 8-inch hole saw for these
Mm.
speakers, so you've got quite a large target to get that speaker wire pulled into, and then you just connect that to this red and black here,
Mm.
and then slide this up into that hole, and then stick your screwdriver into the holes here, and it'll pop out these little ears, and it'll sandwich and clamp the drywall. And then once you're finished installing that, then there's a little speaker grate that just attaches to it via magnet and pop, and then
Mm.
then you've got speakers in your ceiling, and it works pretty well. And yeah, I'm using Music Assistant then to drive all of that. So
Man.
um, my wife likes it. It's very easy to use. My guests appreciate it. I just
Mm.
hand them a tablet, and they're able to search through my Plex library or YouTube
Nice.
Music, and yeah, it works. It works pretty well. We're happy with it. What
That's
about you? What
awesome,
are you
man.
doing for audio in your house?
So currently, I'm still setting up here. I just moved into this house about 4 months ago, so it's been a bit of a remodel here as well. So currently, I have got a Bose system. Now, the Bose integration at the moment is not great at all. And that's why I was asking you about what you're actually using as an interface between Home Assistant and the actual speakers and things. And so I'm running the Bose integration, which honestly, it doesn't actually allow you to stream music. Once you switch the Bose system on, you can stop and start it or switch it off. But for some reason or other, you don't actually seem to be able to push music across to it. So that's pretty frustrating. So I'm going to actually have to look at some sort of a system like what you've got there with, I like those Yamaha receivers sound awesome, eh?
Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with them. They work well. But they're not the cheapest thing out there.
What sort of money are you looking at for one of those?
Well, so it depends on which one you're after. These are the ones that I'm using here. Oh, jeez. Thanks, Amazon.
He's one of those.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so these are the ones that I'm using here, the RX V6A. There's lesser expensive ones that are out there, but I'm so this exact model honestly is not the one that I have. I have there's a big box store chain out here in the US called Costco. And so Costco has big purchasing power, right? So they leveraged Yamaha into creating a model just for them. And it was called the TSR 700. Let me see. Yeah, so here's one on Amazon, right? It's the exact same thing as that RX V6A, but it's branded with this model number, which was only sold originally by Costco. And so brand new from Costco, these were only $399, right?
Wow.
And now on Amazon, a renewed one of these is $449. But when you compare that to this RX V6A, which is a $600 one, you know, and it's the only difference is the documentation, you know, the manuals don't reflect this, but the V6A has stereo subwoofers. It's a 7.2, and the TSR 700 is a 7.1. But since I don't use any subwoofers for any of these channels, that's not really a concern that I had, right? But so if I were to do this today, I probably would not choose these just because of the price. But
so Jeff, just to understand, is that a hex integration that you're using, or is that a Home Assistant integration?
No, yeah. So it's the Yamaha MusicCast is a built-in Home Assistant integration.
Oh, nice.
And it'll auto discover. Yeah. So on the back of this receiver here, you can see that there's network port.
Your network port, yeah. So that's going network wired into your switch, and then you've got the Home Assistant integration for Yamaha. That is nice and robust, eh?
Exactly, yeah. Or you can do Wi-Fi too, right?
Yeah.
So there's this is one Wi-Fi antenna there, and then the other Wi-Fi antenna is over here. So you can do Wi-Fi too if you prefer. I wire them, just I like that. But yeah, so as soon as you get it on the network, Home Assistant will auto discover it, and it'll show up via the Yamaha MusicCast integration. And so then, these are my 3 receivers, and then the 2 devices that get created are Zone 1 and Zone 2. So Zone 1 here is my den area, and then Zone 2 is the dining room. And so then if we go to my home audio page, so there's the den, and there's the dining room there. But yeah, they work really well, but they're let me find the lesser expensive one here. I'll search for that and pull it back up when I get a moment. But yeah, I saw your video about the Bose. You were not very happy with that. All it allowed you to do was power it on and off.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Bose is some pretty decent gear as well, and for some reason or other, there's only a hex integration, and yeah, it just really limits you. So no, I really like the idea of moving down that route, but that's a future thing for me. Now, Jeff, we've talked about lights and we've talked about whole home audio. What about sensors?
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about sensors. Um, I've just received some
Ah,
sensors from a company called Apollo. So
okay.
it is I've got two sensors. I've got an air quality sensor, which is measuring all the different PM particle sizes. It's got a gas sensor in there. There's about 8 different gases it's measuring. Temperature and humidity is limited because of the overheating from the ESP, but it also does barometric pressure and light. So that's a sensor that I'm busy playing around with at the moment, and I like indoor air quality sensors. I recently installed a heat recovery ventilation system into my home, and I'm quite interested to see what the air quality is like. CO2 as well, what the air quality is like versus the amount of air changes that I'm creating in my home at any one time. So that came. I'm also playing with the millimeter wave sensor that they've sent me, and I've done a lot of videos on millimeter wave sensors, presence sensors, and there's been a huge amount of interest on those videos that I've made. So people obviously like the idea of millimeter wave versus PIR. Obviously, it has some limitations, especially around power usage. So they need to be wired. They're not battery powered. Although I see a manufacturer that is hoping soon to launch a battery powered millimeter wave presence sensor. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember the
Yeah.
manufacturer,
So
but
I
Karen.
I don't have any of those millimeter wave sensors because
Mm.
all of the ones that I've looked at so far have all required 5-volt USB.
Yeah,
And
yeah, they do
you know,
because they chew.
I don't want to have, yeah, I don't want to have cables like hanging down my walls to, you know what I
Mm.
mean? So so I've not set any of those up yet, but that would be really cool to have a battery powered one. Absolutely. Because that's, you know, the vast majority of my sensors now, you know, they're a lot of them are the CR 2032, right? The little
Yeah,
coin battery ones.
yeah.
You know, like all my temperature sensors, like this here. Um, you know, those are all CR 2032, and then I've got
Mm. Which
some
actual
regular
sensor are you
PIR
using there, Jeff?
sensors. These are all just the well, I shouldn't say all. Most of these are the Akara sensors, all the ones
Oh
with the
yeah,
decimal points,
oh
right? So
yeah.
everything where you get temperature with the tenths,
Mm.
those are all Akara sensors.
Mm.
And then the ones that are just providing whole number values,
Mm.
these are actually remote sensors from my thermostat. Um, and so my thermostat is a Honeywell T9,
Mm.
and the reason that I like that one, so we have I by American standards, I guess anyway, a rather big house,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, there's only a single HVAC system,
Mm.
and because the house is older, so they didn't do zones or break
Yeah.
up any of the ductwork or anything like that, right? Yeah.
That's a
So
pain, eh?
what the Oh, it is a pain, yeah, because you know it'll be 80 in one room and 70 in another room, right? But I know it's ridiculous. It's the
uh,
first world problems.
yeah.
But so what these remote sensors from the T9 do is I can put these sensors. So I put one in the family room, one in the kitchen,
Mm.
one in the master bedroom, down here in my office, and so forth, in the nursery. But so what those sensors allow me to do then is anywhere that I put one of them, I can tell the thermostat that I want the temperature to be this in that room, right? And so I can say at 10 o'clock at night, I want the temperature in the master suite to be 67 degrees because I'm going to bed. And so if it's wintertime, it'll turn up the heat to 67, and it might be 80 degrees in the guest bedroom. I
Mm.
don't care. This will keep it to be 67 in the master. And the same then in the summer, you know, I want 67 in the master because I'm going to bed. And so in my basement office, it might be 52 degrees, but
Mm.
it will only pay attention to whatever temperature sensor I tell it to pay attention to. So it kind
Ah.
of, it's like a poor man's zone setup.
So you
So
could even do
I'm
like a
sure it's not.
presence. You could do a presence thing, like as you walk into that room, suddenly it starts setting the temperature to that room?
Yeah, yeah, you absolutely could. Yep. If you well, I believe that those sensors actually report presence.
Yeah.
I haven't I haven't gone and done that yet or looked at it, but let me. So they come in via HomeKit.
Yeah,
Um,
I also use HomeKit. Yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, so they report presence. I haven't done anything with that yet, but yeah, you probably could tell it. When if there's motion in this room, then make it this temperature between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. or whatever, and then after that, only pay attention to the temperature in the master suite or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, oh, that's pretty cool. So have you got it? So you're measuring temperature, humidity at the moment. Is there anything else you're measuring? Have you got a weather station or any other sort of sensors at the
I
moment?
I don't have a weather station just yet, but that is on the list of things that I want to add to my Home Assistant. I was using oh man, what's there is there's one company out there that makes weather stations where
Mm.
you can view all of the weather station data on the
Yep,
internet, so you can see
that's
all the weather stations around you.
Weather
I can't remember
Underground.
which
That's
one
what
it
I've
is.
got.
Yes, yes. So I had Weather Underground in here as a
Hmm.
page on the sidebar, but it didn't perform very well. It was trying to pull in too much data and slow down my interface, so I took it off. But I do want to get some type of a weather station, a local weather station
Hmm.
that I can put up in the backyard or whatever. But I haven't been able to find one yet that I think would be cost effective and that
Hmm.
I'm certain would do everything that I want and integrate with Home Assistant easily.
Hmm.
Um, I tend to be one of those guys where if I want to add something to Home Assistant and it's not something that I've done before, like I will spend 2 months researching and watching YouTube videos and
Yeah.
reading on the forums and looking up all the integrations to see what kind of problems people may or may not have. Like when we added when I finally added a robot vacuum to the house,
Hmm.
right? I spent
Which one have you
I don't
got?
even know how many months. So this is the Roborock S8 Pro Ultra.
And
Um,
you
so
impressed?
yeah, I actually am. So this one mops and vacuums.
Hmm.
So this is a map of the first floor of the house here, and so the dock is in the corner and the den over here, and then this is the stairs going down
We
to
can't see your
the
screen
basement where
there.
my office is. Oh, you can't see the. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. Look at. Oh my
That's
goodness.
all right.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Oh
There we
man.
go. Look at that.
Yeah, geez, I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
wanted to.
you're a
Yeah, so this
newbie.
this is what I was. I know. This is my first live stream. I'm sorry, everybody. Um, yeah, so these are all the settings though that are available from the Roborock.
Yeah.
Quite a number of things. Um, so it's pretty nice. But yeah, so the S8 Pro Ultra,
Hmm.
and then this is a map of the ground floor. So the
Hmm.
Roborock dock sits over here in the corner of the den, and these are the stairs going down to the basement where my office is. But so yeah, it shows you in real time, as it's driving around the house and vacuuming and mopping and doing all the things. And it does a great job. Um, that I am going to be doing a review video about it. One of the things that I don't like
Hmm.
is they claim that it can avoid pet messes. They lied.
And you found out the nasty
They
way, did you?
Yes, Simon, I found that out the very hard and smelly and disgusting way. It was horrible. It was
Oh
so
no.
bad. It was terrible. But I got it all cleaned up and
Hmm.
it's all back together and working as it should. But yeah, so it reports all kinds of stuff. It'll tell you, how much time is left before you have to replace the filter.
Hmm.
It tells you, how much area it cleaned the last time that it ran, when the last time you ran it was. But we recently got a dog, so that was how I discovered the mess thing. But we also had to stop the schedule. We've got to run it manually because the dog freaks out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a few days. It used to run every morning, but yeah, all kinds of stuff. So then you can reset all these consumables, right? Like this filter left, you can just press here to reset that because they sell new filters and brushes and all this kind of
Hmm.
thing. But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it, pretty impressed with it so far. The integration was pretty easy. You know, and obviously you get this nice pretty map to
Mhm.
look at, which I think is nice. And it does actually drive around in real time. You can see it on here as it's going, which is more of a novelty, I suppose, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Has that one got the camera on it so you can actually watch where it's going?
No, so this one does not have a camera.
Mhm.
So the S7 did have a camera on it, but there were quite a number of people that had raised a bunch of security concerns. I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Roborock, but there was one vendor um, where the people working at the company were able to view the cameras from the robot
Ooh,
vacuums. I
yeah,
know,
that's a
and so
problem, eh?
I know, but so the problem became that the employees got bored and started watching the footage, and then had actually posted some of it on the internet, like, "Hey, this is funny.
Oh
Watch
no!
this." Right?
America's
I know.
funniest home
So
video from Roborock.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. So I don't know which manufacturer that was. I don't
Yeah,
think it was Roborock, but
no,
I don't recall who it was.
yeah.
So I don't want to speak ill of anyone in particular, but you know, in sensitivity to that, Roborock then with this model, they omitted the camera, and so
Mm.
now everything is done using lidar, right, which
Okay.
is basically laser radar, right? So
Yeah.
it senses everything using lidar and that, you know, so it's pretty slick though. It works good. It's not gotten stuck. It's not,
Mm.
you know, driven off a cliff and fallen down the stairs. You know, if you stand in front of it, it'll stop and turn,
Yeah.
and you know it's pretty neat. It's the first robot vacuum that we've had before, so I don't have much to compare it to, but we're very happy with that one.
Nice, nice. Now,
Did
have you?
you have a robot vacuum or?
I do. It's actually not working very well. I've got a Dbot T9 that I bought probably 2.5 years ago, and
Okay.
given it did work well in the beginning, but something has gone really weird. And the integration to Home Assistant is actually awesome. There's a fully Home Assistant supported integration with the Dbots now. The
Mhm.
problem is that my Ecovacs Dbot, for some reason or other, is just not actually navigating properly anymore. So you'll turn it on, it'll sort of start off, and then it'll just get totally lost and just sort of stop. So
And so what technology does that one use to navigate then?
LiDAR,
Is that like just
LiDAR.
is it lidar? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's got a
So do
secondary
you have to
sensor as well.
clean the sensors on that one? Like I know on the Roborock there's
Oh.
a camera countdown automatically where it'll remind
Mhm.
you, you know, it's time to wipe off all the sensors and whatever.
That could be worth a bash because, yeah, I'll give it a try because I'd like to resurrect it if I can, because they're quite expensive for what they are still at the moment. So that's a really good idea. Let me give that a bash, Jeff, and then I'll give you some feedback on that because yeah, it was working really well. It was picking up a lot of stuff. I was running it every day, mopping and everything, and it was picking up a huge amount of stuff. So I will certainly give that a try in cleaning those. What I wanted to ask you, have you made any of your own sensors, using ESP32 dev kit board and then connecting sensors directly to it?
I have not yet actually. Here, let me.
Now that is a lot of fun, mate. One of my first
Yeah,
videos
so
that I ever did was what you got there? Oh, you've ordered one.
this is my very first ESP32 anything.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I have
Well
to,
done.
well, I have to read the manual. I don't know if I actually have to flash it or if it's flashed already.
Yeah,
Um,
you'll have to
but yeah,
flash it, yeah.
well, I don't know. So this is that Rage Against the Garage Door opener, right? The Rat
Oh,
GDO.
that one. Yes, I've heard about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I ordered this one several months
Mm,
ago. It was on back order. Um,
mm,
so I actually if you don't mind, I would like to rant about this a little bit.
mm,
So I've made several videos about automating your garage door opener, or
mm.
like geofencing, or
Yeah.
zones, stuff like that, right? And so the garage door opener that I presently use, that's still in use, I have a Chamberlain, I think, or maybe a
Mm.
LiftMaster, same company, right? But there was a HomeKit bridge that they made, right? So when
Yeah.
I first started with Home Assistant, I got that MyQ cloud based nonsense,
Mm.
right? And the latency on that thing was just terrible. It was so bad. Like I would press open the garage door, and like 90 seconds later, maybe if I was lucky, the garage door would open. It was
Yeah.
so bad. Yeah. So I went online and I did a bunch of research, and I found that
Mm.
they make a home kit. They make a home kit one, right? So um, I bought the HomeKit one, and so you can see then in my integrations here under HomeKit,
Mm.
um, here it is. You see MyQ and two devices, right? So
Mm.
the garage door and the opener itself, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I've been using that one, the HomeKit one, not the cloud integration. And I would go on the forums and I would read, and people would complain, oh, the MyQ thing, and whatever, it stopped working again, and the dev would fix it. And 2 months
Mm.
later, it stopped working, and the dev would fix it. And
Ah.
then, yeah, and then all hell broke loose. What, last
Mm.
October or something, right? My, Chamberlain decided, we're not going to let you do that anymore,
Yeah.
and we're going to take that away, and the whole world got mad. And I started getting all kinds of comments all over all of my videos about, well, what do you mean that you use the my? I'm like, no, it's HomeKit, it's local. So I really, I think there's a disconnect out there, or a lack of understanding maybe with some of the community about the difference and the importance of having local communication for your devices. And HomeKit is local communication. So I have this device that the manufacturer says you can't use our cloud thing anymore, but I'm still using it without the Rage Against the Garage Door deal, right? I
Mm.
mean, I bought that partly because it was only like, I think, $40 or something, which is very economical in my opinion.
Mm.
But I bought it because everyone is talking about it. So I figured that I should learn about it and make a video about it, because that's what we do, right? As YouTubers. But in researching it, it actually does have more functionality than just opening and closing the door. It can
Mm.
tell you, the door is 50% open, or it can turn the lights on the garage door opener on and off without you
Mm.
having to actually open the door. So, but yeah, it's very frustrating to me though that people, you try and explain the benefits of local devices and local communication, and nobody pays attention until it blows up in their face. Like
Oh no.
what was the other one recently? The was it
Higher.
Hire, I think?
I
Yeah.
was one that was ranting
Yep.
about Hire. I bought a beautiful dishwasher from Hire. And yeah, exactly the same. The guys, basically the Hex developer that put the system together to integrate into Home Assistant, he got a cease and desist notice from them and was told he had to close it off or get into trouble. Now, Jeff, I'm afraid I'm going to have to actually call an end to our stream today. But
Oh,
yeah, sorry, I've got to go and do something. But if you're available a little bit later, it would be great to carry on this discussion. What is your time like for the rest of the day?
it is presently approaching 5 p.m. here.
Yeah.
And I am not going anywhere. As
Okay.
you can see, I won't be driving anywhere this evening. So, yeah, I will be around if you're
Nice.
available and you'd like to start this up again later. I look forward to it.
Awesome. Now that we've got over the technical hiccups, if you can give me sort of probably about 3 hours, we can come back online, and if you can have a think about some good stuff we can talk about, we'll connect up again in a couple of hours' time.
That sounds wonderful, Simon.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was great for a first live stream.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I think this went exceedingly well.
Fantastic, mate. It's really good to chat to you, and I can't wait to extend this conversation. Speak later, mate.
Sounds great.
Cheers.
Have a great
Bye
evening.
then. You too.